Hello and warm welcome to this webinar where we will talk about how to overcome cross-channel integration challenge. And this is a webinar hosted by me, Oscar. I am a CX technologist and data geek with Octo, a software company supplying an experience data platform. In this webinar, I will share our learnings from working with leading brands, retailers across different industry verticals through the last years, but also based on some learnings as individuals going back many years. Personally, coming close to over 15 years working in the CX domain, a lot with e-commerce and other customer experiences. Both as a consultant, but now also as a product vendor. And we're going to go straight into the topic here. What is actually the cross-channel integration challenge? What is it actually, and why does it exist? Well, if we zoom in on what you need to do as a retailer or brand, there is a need for you to offer a relevant experience, basically everywhere, across all different types of channels, devices, in every micro moment that your customer are engaging with your brand. You need to be there and you need to have a relevant experience that you offer. And you also need to make sure that when your customers moves across these different points of interaction, you need to come off as providing something that is relevant, exceptional, and good to keeping their loyalty to your brand. And this is a challenge because there are so many different touch points, so many devices that they can actually meet your brand in. And if you look at this as an example journey, depending on where the customer is in their buying journey, there are so many different types of screens, moments of interaction, and we probably are delivering certain types of front ends or solutions or different types of interactions, whether it's a marketing automation solution, it's your e-commerce site, it's your point of sale system, you might have a sales tool for a sales reps, you have a customer service tool to which your call center or a customer service center providing support to your buyers. It could also be a post-purchase, different types of solutions, you might have a returns portal, etc. And there are so many different types of solution systems interaction here that come into play. And the situation gets a little bit even worse when you also might be a B2B2C brand. Actually, also then you have, because you might have different partners to which you need to provide content portals, that you need to provide different types of order portals, etc. Many different types of screens, web apps, PVAs that you might offer depending on what the purpose is of the different interaction. And normally with this, you start to build out islands of information. And with in these different points of interaction, you're building up knowledge about your customer that today is very hard to get to know, to have access to, and to reuse across channels. I mean, yeah, there you come back to the subject of the webinar. And another challenge with this is also that all of these different points of interaction, they need data. And they need, in many cases, similar sets of data, or at least data coming out of the same systems that might be very tricky to get together. And with this, there are, as I see it, there are three main challenges that's sort of slowing down the unification of these different channels working cross-channel with these different experiences. First one is integrations. I know by experience that too many companies, as soon as they're gonna do some sort of digital CX project, they spend 80% of their budget of just connecting data, moving data from one system into another to make that system ready to interact. And they only get like 15 to 20% left to actually work with the experienced user interface, the process design. And another dimension, another challenge with this is data silos, that you have different types of data. First and foremost, also that you're building up the data in the different front ends, the different tools that you use to drive different interactions throughout the customer journey, but also that your data is many times stuck in different backend systems where you have different data silos that have a certain purpose, and then it needs to be there for that purpose. And the third one, a third challenge that happened that has nothing to do with technical or the architecture or the solution itself, is generally the mindsets within organizations. That every time you're going to do something in terms of a CX project, by experience, it used to be quite expensive. It used to take quite long. You need to do your ROI calculations. You need to engage with your IT. You need to fit into you need to align with all the other projects that might be going on. You need to get your new development into a backlog. You might need to have a partner, etc. But there are different ways that you can actually challenge this way of thinking in order to provide faster access to data and run faster projects. If we zoom in on these different challenges, if we start with the silo one, we know that there are many different backend systems that comes into play when you're going to deliver some sort of PDA or front end or digital experience today. It's the transactional data or basic customer records coming out of ERP. You could also have like warehouse data, stock information, price information that you need to get out of there, easy accessible. And as probably you know, most of the ERP systems out there don't provide easy access to data that can fulfill real-time needs in any front end. You're also likely to have some sort of PIM system or product information management system where you have all your marketing related information about your products. This and similar for the customer data, customer records, where you have a customer master in terms of the CRMs, etc. And these types of systems are built for storing and providing data around product or customers as entity. But these data sets are normally not unified. They're not as easy to get out of these systems and use them directly in the front end. As an example, I know that a typical product details page on an e-commerce site, it requires access to 3 or 4 different systems because the information that's in there is coming out not only out of the PIM system, but actually out of 3 other systems as well. So here you have one challenge that it's actually quite hard to find information. If you're in a digital team, it's hard to use the information, but also it's hard to combine the information from these different sources. And then also if you throw in the fact that you're building out your stack of silos with all your different types of front-end solutions, as well as point of sales, you might have your e-com platform, etc. The situation becomes even trickier to handle. And the traditional approach with this, then leading into talking about integrations in itself, is that the standard solution has been that, well, you just put the new system that you're going to use. If you're going to implement an e-com, you put the e-com platform in the middle, and then you start pushing data from all the other systems into this system. What happens there is that you tend to dilute your data because there is never a one-on-one match between one data model into another data model. So you remove important information that you might need about your customer, your product, or whatever it would be. And you're losing the context, meaning that suddenly the data doesn't mean the same as it used to do before. And last but not least, you spend tons and tons of time on building point-to-point integrations in this way to connecting your front ends. And it doesn't really matter what type of system that you put in there, what type of platform or CX solution, if it's an in-store solution or if it's a CX any type of CX front end, or if it's a marketing automation system, whatever, it tends to come into play the same way, that you need information out of all these systems, and you tend to do the same thing over and over again, that you build a point-to-point integration to e-com platform, to point of sales, etc. But this is just a waste of money. As I said again, throwing like 80% of your budget into this is not only increasing cost, but it also makes your product take 12 months instead of 1 month to do these kind of things. So that's the second challenge. And this challenge is actually becoming increasingly harder because we are also now adding more and more tools to the stack, which is important because there are multiple tools now being enabled that provide sort of a single capability or a limited set of capabilities, but it does it exceptionally well. So we are a total fan of this approach, but you need to have an easy way to reuse the data from all of these different types of sources, which is different gold mines with data that you can use, and getting that data out of there. And also, thirdly, if we then look into like the third challenge that I mentioned, is about this with mindset. I'm put down a few quotes on the picture, which you might recognize when you're coming in and do some sort of project. Either it's a member of your team, or if it's from another department, that you might say, well, we don't have time right now, or you need to come back in 12 months. Yeah, the backlog is full, or this can't be done. We don't really sure how to get a hold of that data. And you want that data to infuse that? No, there's not an API for that purpose. We don't have that. It tends to be also that the mindsets become quite static. That's, we have done it the same way. We need to do the project this and this, and you need to provide an ROI calculation, etc., etc. Or it's just that you don't really know that there are actually new ways that have the possibility, have new ways to actually solve this challenge. And what happens is that what I've seen historically is that innovation dies within teams, that you don't know. It's not, I have this great idea for this upcoming campaign, but no, it's not necessary that I actually bring it to the table because I know we won't have time to do it anyway. Or that you tend to focus on just a single few projects that you don't really have the effort or the time or capability to innovate much faster as your customer demands are changing over time. Luckily, I have put together this 3-step recipe on how you can do faster CX project. The first one is that you should really try to enable what we call a holistic view on experience data. And by experience data, I mean data that you bring to life in a customer experience somehow. That rather than seeing them as different backend systems as different sources, you really should have you or your tech team really help you enable a holistic view on this type of experience data that you need fast access to create data to customer experiences. And secondly, really, please stop wasting money on point-to-point integrations. There are so many other new ways on how you can actually solve this data accessibility challenge that you should really stop this and really rethink your budgets, rethink your way of doing. Try to find benchmarks out there from your peers and who is really good at this and bringing digital innovation to the table really fast and see how they do. And I can rest assured they're not working with point-to-point integrations. And thirdly, I really recommend you to challenge mindsets to unlock creativity and really to have a different mindset to think, how can this be done faster? How can we innovate and bring this new idea to life? Go out on the market, see what you can do with this new composable technologies that are out there. How can you do it much, much faster to try these new ways, new things out? And the result, if you follow this, is that you will have the capability to launch any idea within weeks. You will be able to really fast adapt to new type of demands that your customers are coming with. Or if you're going to do this late incoming campaign with a pop-up store and you need a cool digital sales tool or some sort of experience screen in that pop-up store, you now have the possibility to do it. And of course, there are several ways to do this, but at least there is an experience data platform can be one enabler to actually do this, to put in place to really make it easier to unlock, relate, and exposing data in a much faster and new revolutionizing way that you haven't been able to do before, which could be one thing. And the benefit that you will gain, why should you invest in this, is that, well, yes, you will have the possibility, you will minimize integration cost because you will onboard data and make it easily available for any type of PVA frontend or app that might need it. And I promise you, our customers are saying that you have the possibility to launch new initiatives at least 4 times faster because that's what they're experiencing. Things that normally took 6 months are now taking 30 days or 6 weeks. So it's actually going from months to days or even years to months. It's a super great benefit. And also making it easier to enable relevant experiences anywhere. Now you not longer need to have like your e-commerce site being like the single source of truth for digital experiences. Now you can do vertical commerce solutions. You can do niched experiences. You can do pop-up digital initiatives, etc. So you have the possibility to innovate much, much faster. And these are the 3-step recipe that I shared. Feel free to bring that into your own license, see what you can do with it. If you want to know more about Octo, feel free to reach out to us for a demo. Easily, you do that by visiting our website, where you can learn more about us, what our customer is doing. And it was a pleasure to have you listening in. And thank you very much for taking the time.